All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And in today's video, we got an update from Steven Sharif. What he likes to do occasionally is he will go and watch content from Ashes of Creation content creators and provide responses. And this week, he responded to one of Narc's videos, kind of talking about the live stream in general, and he dropped a little snippet at the end saying that March, we will be getting a fighter showcase. Now, this is to be expected. I actually expected this to happen from watching the February showcase. We saw a fighter in the background, and as that has happened in the past, when they sneak preview a specific archetype, 1 to 2 months later, we do get that archetype showcase. So yeah, it was cool to see. I was really looking forward to it. And now that we have confirmation, I get to do a video with you guys talking a little bit more about the fighter, what the fighter is, what we know it is so far, and then what I'm kind of hoping to see in the March showcase. So that's what this video is going to be. Let's dive into it. As far as archetypes go, Fighter is one of the ones I'm most looking forward to. If I were to provide a top 3, it would be Fighter, Rogue, and Bard, not in that specific order. Those are the archetypes I'm looking forward to for a variety of reasons. But the first one is Fighter and Rogue. I love melee combat in MMORPGs. That is my favorite thing to engage in. I just think melee combat is really enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the main melee archetype for Ashes of Creation is going to be. So, what do we know so far about the Fighter? Well, the Fighter is supposed to be the high damage melee guy, as I said, and they will have a resource called Momentum. Momentum, they haven't really talked too much about it, but I'm assuming it's going to kind of be like the Cleric's form of Conviction. If you guys go and look at the Cleric showcase, what Conviction is a resource for Clerics where if you activate specific skills and abilities at certain times in combat, either providing synergies or providing low health healing, basically you're using skill-based mechanics in order to provide a valuable input to your teammates, you generate what is called Conviction.
Let's talk about Divine Infusion. And this one is a bigger topic.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the class resource and then how this plays into it. You'll notice if you look at the top left, there are now 3 resource bars for the Cleric. And that third one you might have seen going up and down as as Steven's been healing. But this resource regenerates based on how much healing and damage you've been doing over the last 10 seconds. So the more radiant damage and the more you're healing, and it's only effective healing, so you can't overheal for this, but the more you're doing that, the faster this resource will build up. And the way you spend this resource is on an ability called Divine Infusion. And what this is if you have enough resource to complete the cast of a spell, you can use this during the cast of the spell and it will auto-complete that spell. I've never actually seen a mechanic like this in a game before. It was a pretty cool idea that came up across the design team.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so essentially, I am going to build up some of the unique energy. I'm going to do that by healing Bucky. And then I am going to use a long cast ability, and I'm going to attempt to use Divine Infusion to complete that cast sooner than normally would be possible. And just to be clear, if I were not to, let's say, use that ability, then I would have a passive benefit for my character while that energy is maintained that amplifies some spell efficacy as a healer.
Yep. Now, what this does is it provides a skill gap among clerics. You don't have to be extremely skilled to play cleric or provide healing, but if you can generate more conviction than the clerics around you, you then get access to another resource pool that allows you either to heal for more or heal more often. And so this is what the conviction resource is supposed to be doing for clerics. I'm assuming that momentum is going to be similar for a fighter. They kind of hint at it in the Wikipedia and on live streams that it will boost your damage and resistances. You'll be able to hit harder, you'll be able to take more damage as you're building more momentum. And so seeing exactly how these mechanics are going to be incorporated for the fighter is going to be interesting. We all want, those of us that are engaging in combat want meaningful combat. From my perspective, personally, I want to be able to have a skill gap among different fighters. You don't want, just having cooldowns on specific skills and abilities is one thing, and utilizing them in a specific way in order to maximize damage that's one aspect. But if you can generate momentum faster than other fighters do, and you're able to basically build your resistances, build your attack damage, you're not only going to push out more damage on a battlefield, you're also going to take less damage, making it easier on your healers to keep you alive, making it your overall group a lot more effective. And so seeing these types of skill abilities and how to stack momentum is going to be interesting. It's something I'm really looking forward to seeing for this specific live stream. The other thing that we know is that fighters have a lot of gap closers. There is essentially in MMOs, there is ranged combat, there is melee combat, and you want to make sure you have a synergy between both. You want ranged players who are typically operating at further distances than melee to be able to dish out high damage, and they also need to have access to mobility. Their mobility is where their survivability comes into. You want them to be able to get away from melee classes in order to survive and dish out damage. In that same vein, you want to provide counters to that for melee attackers. So if if a ranged player is kiting away, you want to give the fighter a chance to close the distance and stay on top of them. And there's this nice back and forth cat and mouse synergy on some games where when you do this well, it is really fun and engaging combat. If it's not done well, or if the fighter has too many gap closing abilities, basically it just becomes a slaughter fest. And vice versa, if they don't have any gap closing abilities at all, it basically becomes a ranged game to where there isn't any real counters for ranged combat. And so in order to have a meaningful combat experience, you need to kind of tread the middle ground of providing gap closers and counters to ranged players so that if they mess up and they get out of position, they get punished for it, while also not making it so overbearing that regardless of what they do, they get gap closed on and they get punished. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how these gap closers are going to work. We kind of saw it during the Caravan PvP live stream with the tank. There's one point, I'll provide a little clip here on the video, where the tank used a gap closer to kind of get the distance on people. So he was in the fight, he got kind of caught out of position, and then he gap closed to get the distance away from everybody else. And you see with his gap closer, it actually covers quite a bit of ground. And so the fact that the fighter might potentially have 2, 3, 4 of these, we have no idea. The fact that they're going to have multiple gap closers, if they have gap closing distances like that, or some form of chains or something like that with this kind of range, you can see the capability that they will have to pull people in or to close on them to dish out melee damage. And so I'm very intrigued by seeing exactly how they're going to essentially get on top of people to dish out the melee damage that they have. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about melee combat in general. They did a melee showcase last year, and it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen melee combat up close and personal. And so we have a year of iteration. We've had a while for Intrepid to improve and iterate on these processes. And so it will be interesting to see the improvement that they've made from a melee perspective. The Mage Showcase came out last summer, and we had a Mage Showcase, and then just this last month in February, Steven was playing the Mage for the Commission Showcase, and we saw a huge improvement in the overall skills and abilities and graphically, the visual effects of what the Mage was from last summer to now. And it makes sense. Like as the game progresses, graphics and visual effects get better and better and better. And it's been a while since we've seen up close and personal the visual effects of a melee class. And so it's going to be fun to see exactly how far they've come from this perspective, how much sharper and better, how much better the collision will look from a melee combat perspective. And so this is important. You want, when you play a game like this, when you play an MMORPG and you're playing a specific class, you want your class to feel powerful, to look powerful. You want their skills and abilities to look good, to look effective. And all of that will be coming in play in the Fighter Showcase. And so all these things kind of combine to I can't wait, guys. I really can't wait. I've been talking about this for a while, but Fighter and Rogue, or Rogue Fighter, is going to be the class that I will probably run, and I get to see one of the two archetypes I'm most looking forward to see. And so I can't wait. I can't wait. But I'm going to end this video here. If you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below, and I will do my best to answer it. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited to see the Fighter? What are you guys looking forward to seeing from this live stream coming up here in March? Let me know. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.